Hi there. So just to get started, I'm just using a Microsoft sample database from this link. Go to the website, it should look like this. Just download the top one by clicking on it. And you can see it's just a native backup file. And to restore it, you just right click databases, restore database, device, file, add, and just go to wherever you put it. There, press OK. Make sure the tick is there. If you want it in a specific location, change the restore as location by clicking on the dots. Comes up, just navigate to it, but I'm just going to leave where it is. Options, make sure restore with recovery hasn't been changed, and then press OK. And then you just have to wait, but I've already done that, so it's just here. So then once you've done that, we'll get into it. Alrighty, so now that you have your database restored, you should be able to see it over here. If you can't, just try and right click on databases, refresh, and then expand VentureWorks, get a look at your tables, have a bit of a browse like that. So before we get into querying, what is a query? Here is a sample query. Commonly has, like English, you read from top left to bottom right. So you can see select some columns from some tables where your conditions, sometimes you want to group it, sometimes when you group it you want to have some like a where clause on the group. That's called a having statement. So if you've got conditions around the grouping, you put that in your having, and then at the end you might want to order it, and you can say if you want it to be descending order or ascending order. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But the tricky part is knowing how a query executes. This comes in a lot later when you're a bit used to writing queries and when you're trying to performance tune them. Basically, you just need to know that you're going to be joining on your tables first. So in this case, it's just the one table. But later on in query writing, you'll learn you can join tables to other tables. And then after you do that, you filter your whole large set into what you want. Then you group it if you want to group it, thus making a smaller number of rows again. And then you then filter your grouping if you have it to make another smaller subset of the original join. And then finally, you got all that, you cherry pick out your columns that you want with your select. And then at the end, when it's all there, it makes it presentable with a bit of a sort. So let's see how this works step by step. So I'll just copy that out, and I'll comment out so in SQL, double dash is just a single line comment. If you want to do a block comment, very similar to most other languages, in that you got a single line and a block comment. So before we even look at that, we're just going to do, most common is select star from a single table, and to execute that, just press the execute button just here. And then yeah, as you can see, got a few columns and 12,137 rows of data. Now, it's not a very useful, helpful table, as you can see down here. It's in the sales schema, so if you go to the sales schema, and then the sales order detail table, so you can see that these tables are probably going to be related. So now that we selected from that table, and we've got 12,000 rows, so let's just write that down. 121,317 rows. We're then going to filter it. So we just do that again, press execute button. You can see that's now 80 rows. So you can see that by doing it in this order, each subsequent step gets smaller and smaller and more efficient for SQL to interact with. So now we can group by, and we're grouping by the product ID. So what that's going to do is see these two rows, 709, they're going to get grouped together. So hopefully that line total turns into a sum around $250 or so. There we go. So you can see with the select star, because when you group by, I've only specified the product ID, but when we highlight that, you can see there's more than just product ID. So we have to specify what we want to do with each column in the group within the select. So that's when I go from the star. So I want product ID as it is, because I'm grouping by it. And then the rest are all going to be what we call some sort of aggregate function. In this case, sums and counts. And we give them a nice little alias, that's what this as is, so that the result set is readable. So let's try that again. And we can see that's now 16 rows. Now, we only want the line total divided by the order quantity to be greater than 5 for all our groups. And you can see 709 did come out to around $250. And here we are. Still, this got us down to 11 rows, which may or may not have happened based on the condition. And as you can see, it's already in product ID order. But what we're going to do is we're going to order by the line total, which in our case is total dollars invoiced, which looks roughly in order. Here you can see it's a bit mixed up, so let's just do that. And then you can see the products aren't in order, but the total dollar invoiced is. So that's pretty much how that query works and how a query processes within the SQL engine. So that's it for this video. My next video I'll go into a bit more about select queries and joins. So hopefully I'll see you there. Thanks.